Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck. Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound, up and in! 1 point more to go!
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
It's a busy day getting ready for some men's and women's basketball this week. The Holiday Bowl is on the horizon, and Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens is with us to kick off the show. What's on your desk these days? How you doing?
A lot's on my desk these days. I'm doing great. Just trying to catch up after the whirlwind trip to Louisville with volleyball.
Yeah.
And got home just in time to go to the Oregon State women's basketball game.
Yeah, good timing.
Yeah, really good timing. And then obviously doing a little bowl prep.
Yeah. Are you the kind of person that has a lot of papers on his desk?
I don't like to.
Yeah.
It adds stress. I like to be somewhat orderly. But,
so my desk really stresses you out with the amount of stuff.
Yes, it does.
Me too.
It does. But I got to
too.
tell you, if you were to walk into my office right now, what's on my desk stresses me out too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when we decided to do like the desk that has a bunch of stuff on it, I'll be honest with you, I was a little unnerved.
Yeah, I get it.
There's a lot going on.
There is a lot.
But fortunately, the only thing that is really like it has to get done soon is these are my notes on UC Riverside.
Oh, good.
Yeah, getting ready for some men's basketball.
Yeah, good.
Tomorrow. All right, so we have a lot to cover, and I know that you're busy running around, so I really appreciate you taking the time. This is the last time that we'll talk to you this calendar year. And any time that I have you on at the end of sort of a session or a season like that, I'd like to ask you just to do a state of the department. Where do you think things are at right now?
Wow, what a fast first term, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
So, yeah, listen, I think it was a great fall, obviously. The transition in cross country and to be able to maximize that, a 9-win football season, those are tough to come by. Volleyball just made another incredible run. And soccer made some progress again. Started with a crazy amount of injuries, much like men's basketball has experienced. But all in all, I think it was a great fall. Autzen was alive. Matthew Knight Arena at the NCAA volleyball tournament, having the chance to have that back was a really cool experience, and fun for those student athletes. And so all in all, I think it was a great fall, and we're ready to crank it up for these winter sports and get people focused and going to support them at their venues, and then carry on into the spring.
And then before you know it, it is going to be the spring.
It is. I mean, we have this overlap between fall and winter sports, and then as soon as we come back from the holiday break, baseball and softball crank back up, and acro, and so lacrosse. So we'll have so many sports going.
Yeah, cross country already transitioning to the indoor season. It comes at you quick. So with all that in mind, I like to do that sort of calendar year in review with you, because you're always looking at the current stuff, but then you and I have talked about this before, but you always have an eye toward the future as well, right? I mean, that's a delicate balance for you.
It is a delicate balance, and obviously there's a lot of change happening in college athletics, whether it's transfer portal, name, image, likeness. There's a lot of different moving parts and pieces that we're trying to be mindful of. A lot of it involves resources and making sure that we allocate ours to be able to compete, attract the best and brightest, and retain the best and brightest, and continue to battle for those Pac-12 championships. So it's a lot.
Let's talk a little bit about the football season and sort of the state of the sport. I mean, you touched on it there. There is a lot of fluidity in college sports right now.
No, there is. And, I mean, obviously they changed the transfer window, so everybody's kind of watching how that happens. But I think that's the new norm. I think that's just the way college athletics is going to be in every sport. But, obviously given that we're in the window of college football right now, it's drawing a lot of attention. But I think that's the nature of it.
Yeah, and early signing day, it seems like this is what's interesting. Like early signing day is still pretty new, but it's really feels like it's not anymore.
No, it is fairly new. And then you look at the percentage of signees who are signing in the early window. I think it started at 70%. It's probably even crept up from there. But it is what is 3 or 4 years old. It's not that old.
Yeah.
But, and then the transfer piece is everybody's still adjusting to.
Yeah, shoot. To me, that's what I use that example because it sums up how fast things are moving in college athletics these days. Because it feels like an eternity ago that we were like, wow, early signing window. It's pretty amazing. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. Your thoughts on the new playoff? Rob, we haven't gotten a chance to ask you about the new format.
Listen, we knew at some point that it would expand. There's a lot of bright minds, and I think it's an exciting next chapter. I think the 14 playoff has been extremely successful in every way, and the founders who put it all together and the protocols did a phenomenal job. I think the committee structure is great, and now we're ready for the next iteration, which is 12 teams.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the details iron out, but certainly it's a great opportunity for, you think about a program like Oregon, would have made the conversation a lot more fun over the course of the last few weeks, wouldn't it?
Oh, no doubt. And if and everybody's going back and applying the 12-team format to the previous year. So yeah, because the playoff has become such a big piece and gotten an incredible focus from week 1 on.
Right.
It will certainly keep more teams in the conversation.
I'm looking forward to seeing just in some ways, the campus communities get more behind it. I like the fact, Rob, that the first round is on the campuses. I think that's kind of fun.
I do think. I mean, obviously, there's a huge advantage to that. We learned that when we hosted the first Pac-12 championship game. But I do kind of like that too. I think that's one of the beauties of college athletics, right? Is that incredible passion and pageantry at these home venues. So, you'll earn that right to host, and it'll be a big advantage.
On that note, Holiday Bowl upcoming. A lot of preparations?
Lots of preparations, no doubt. Exciting time, obviously. Great partnership with the Pac-12 and the Holiday Bowl. It's been a number of years since Oregon's been there. I know our fans are extremely excited. Our team is excited. A chance to go to San Diego and play a great opponent. Great TV window. It's just an incredible opportunity.
On that note, Rob, I don't know if you're as familiar since this was before both you and I's times, but check that out. That was the last time the Ducks were in the Holiday Bowl. 2008.
Right. There you go. 10-3.
Yeah, 10-3 Good year.
Yeah, good year.
Good number. I thought you'd like that.
Finished 9th in the nation.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
The similarities are a little bit eerie, aren't they?
They are. Those are, wow.
And talk about a fun matchup. It's the first time that Oregon and North Carolina have ever played. It was one of, if not the first times Oregon and Oklahoma had ever played.
Oh, cool.
Or Oklahoma State, in that matchup. Because in 2005, Oklahoma was the opponent, and I've got the plaque for 05 if you want to go really back in time here, Rob. But look at some of those faces. Look at some of those names. Some of the folks that are even on the staff now. It's amazing to look at that 2008 game. And then, the 2005 team went 10-2. They were number 12 in the nation after losing to Oklahoma 17-14 in the Holiday Bowl. Pretty cool.
Well, yeah, just in the first two lines. In the front row, you've got Darren Thomas, T.J. Ward. Holy cow. Yeah, it's amazing. Walter Thurman, Nate Costa, LeGarrette Blount, Drew Davis. Some NFL names in there. A number of names who contributed a few years later to 2010.
Yeah.
And that national championship run. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so these are part of, if you ever go through the Oregon, Walk of Fame, if you will. Some of these old bowl plaques are up in Autzen Stadium. They're up throughout the Casanova Center. And so, Rob, I borrowed them for our purposes here getting ready for this today. So
I hope you checked them out. I don't want you to get in trouble.
Don't worry. There's a barcode on the back. I've got my Oregon library card. I can go over to the night library. But anyway, I thought you'd get a kick out of those because because it's been fun having people like I showed him to Jerry Allen, and Jerry, of course, called those games, and he was like, whoa, that's something. So Petco Park, by the way, a great facility. I'm really looking forward to San Diego 28th. You mentioned it's a really positive environment. I love North Carolina as an opponent. It's a fun matchup.
I think it's great. And, I mean, obviously they've had another great year. Coach Brown is a great coach, a wonderful leader in college athletics. And, many view their quarterback as, probably one of the top draftable quarterbacks in 2024 draft, I guess it would be. So, it'll be fun.
I think it's a great opportunity to remind fans as well. The last time Oregon played Mac Brown in a bowl game, it was fun.
That was fun.
That was a good
one.
That was a good Alamo Bowl.
That was a really good Alamo Bowl.
Some connections on that front. All right, well, I want to get a timeout. We'll come back, talk a little bit about volleyball's elite run, cross country, the winter coming up. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens is with us. We're going to get a timeout when we come back. A whole lot more on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider is presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Rob Mullens is here, Oregon Athletic Director, getting ready for the Holiday Bowl. We were just talking during the break. You've got a lot of hoops that you're preparing for, even outside of Oregon. You've got some high school hoop commitments. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's a fun time of year. High school hoops is in full swing, and so every Tuesday and Friday for sure. And then once they get to the holiday break, they can play on some other days.
Sure, I like that. You keep them busy, right? Heading into the holiday break. I understand.
Plenty busy. Yeah. No, it's fun.
All right.
So I was about to say I got a streak of 8 days in a row of some sort of hoop games here.
I'll get there one of these days. I'm happy to report that my son has made it to the 4-month mark.
There you go.
So I haven't.
It happens fast.
It does. Any fatherly advice for a 4-month-old now?
Yeah, stay present.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's. I needed to hear that actually. I think today because it does go fast. He's
it
already
does.
rolling over. It's weird.
Look out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are going to have to employ the zone defense here pretty soon.
We have a sunken living room, so I like to think it's a natural playpen at least for like a month.
Okay. There you go.
So I'm hopeful.
There you go.
Of
Good luck with that.
Thank you. I'll see how it works out. Hey, since we last had you on, a new senior staff member joining your staff.
Yeah. No. Excited to welcome Val Johnson. And many may recognize the name. Val was the athletic director at Willamette for a while, then at Portland State. Excited to have her join our team as deputy AD, and she will be our senior women administrator as well. So after the first of the year, we're going to have welcome Val down here, and folks will get to meet her in and around all of our events.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The resume and reputation speak for themselves, I guess.
Yeah, she's got a wealth of experience in intercollegiate athletics, but obviously a ton in her state, both at Willamette and at Portland State. So excited to get her here.
Volleyball, elite run. Tell us about the trip.
Unbelievable run. So proud of this team and what they were able to do. We went off 17 in a row and finished second in the Pac-12. And
program record for a winning
opportunity
streak.
to host the first and second round, which was fun and another great experience for our fans. And then to go to Louisville in the Sweet 16 and beat Nebraska in an incredible match. And then, just fight their tails off. Against the home team in a hostile environment. I had all kinds of crazy flight issues getting there, so I missed the Nebraska match and had all kinds of crazy flight issues again, but was able to make it for the Louisville match. And
so you went through it.
What a special group. Obviously, Brooke Nuneviller, amazing career. And to go into that hostile environment and compete the way they did, so proud of them. An Elite Eight run, so close to that Final Four. I think the home court carried the day for Louisville, and those post-game locker rooms where you're so proud of them, but there's a lot of emotion, because no one expects it to end, and especially this team. They were so tight and wanted to continue to practice and play together, for one more weekend. But couldn't be more proud of them. They represented Oregon the right way, and literally we're right there.
Yeah, and I love that Brooke Nuneviller said. We talked about this on the show yesterday, Rob. And by the way, Matt Ulmer, we talked with Coach Ulmer. He's actually out still that direction of the country, a little family time, and then they've got the coaches convention, All-American banquets, all that goes on around the championship weekend in Omaha, Nebraska. So Coach and his staff will be there. He joined us actually yesterday. We recorded yesterday, and I got to tell you, you're not going to want to miss this interview with Coach Ulmer coming up. But a guy who likes to have a lot of fun, but when he's emotional, he means it. And that's what's coming up in just a little while.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal, obviously great job he and the staff did all year. But, those post-game locker rooms are really difficult. And he managed it great. And, you could just tell there's a lot of love, a deep connection with that entire team. And so – it was a great run. Everybody was hoping for one more, and it was a quiet group flying back the next day.
Well, and I love what I was going to say too. I love that Brooke Nuneviller said it best. That I think Oregon, Nebraska, neck and neck, both right there. Oregon, Louisville, neck and neck, both right there. I mean, that tells you where the program's at right now. It's great.
No doubt. And to be in that environment with whatever it was, 8,000, 10,000 people, I mean, there was an intensity around every single point.
Sure.
And to see our team perform at such a high level on that stage sure was fun. Listen, it hurt in the moment, but when that team reflects back on all that they accomplished, they're going to feel really, really good about what they've done.
I'm glad you said that, because me being me, as you know, I efforted to do that with Coach Ulmer when I talked to him yesterday. And we have 3 parts, actually, of our interview with Coach Ulmer coming up. And it hurts, for sure. But a program record for a winning streak, most conference wins ever, and most of the roster that you saw on the floor, not seniors. And so that's great to see that's just where the program's at moving forward.
Well, and I think that was a neat thing throughout the year, and even in postseason, it was different athletes stepping up at different times. Obviously,
Morgan Lewis.
Yeah, you have the leadership of Brooke Nuneviller, and but the way that they really supported one another. The things that you remember, when you're there, like I had just a blast being at the morning walkthrough,
right?
The day of the Louisville match, and just being around the student athletes and seeing the energy. It was a special group.
For someone like you, Rob, there's so much that goes into your position, and then getting the opportunity to travel with a team in a big postseason environment like this. I mean, this has got to be why you got into the industry.
Yeah,
right?
I love those moments. I wish I could travel with more teams during the regular season, but being there, the part that comes into being that close to a Final Four is these young women have spent years and years and years working, dreaming of that opportunity. A lot goes into it. And then to be on that stage and have them have the opportunity to perform, and they perform so well, is fun.
Winter coming up as well. And again, Coach Ulmer, we're going to have our conversation with him coming up in just a little bit. Revisiting men's basketball, women's basketball. Actually, I should ask you before I get to that, you experienced it. I felt it. The home crowd that Louisville had, all the more reason to have that home crowd advantage for volleyball next year and maybe have the opportunity to be hosting in that environment.
Well, and Matt and I were having this conversation pre-match. The home court advantage was a big help to us in the second round.
Sure.
And we felt our crowds building with the success throughout the year. We want to carry that over into next year regular season. But if you can get one of those top 4 seeds, you're going to host.
That's right.
And if we have the opportunity to have a Sweet 16 at Matthew Knight Arena with our crowd, I think we could get to 10,000, and it'll impact the match.
Yeah, I think that's great that you say that, because it felt that way to me tuning in from afar, and I can only imagine what it was like there in the moment.
Yeah, you certainly felt it in the first set, and then obviously, we win the second set, and we were dominant in the third set. And in those last few points in the fourth set, you got 10,000 people on one side. It makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. All right, men's basketball, women's basketball coming up. Men have been banged up. What a win, though, for the women against Oregon State. It felt like, I said this kind of jokingly with Terry and Bev when they were calling the game on Sunday, Rob, that it felt like it kind of snuck up on us, that it was the rivalry matchup, the opener of Pac-12 play, and just the way the schedule fell this year, what the coaches worked out. Doesn't matter if it snuck up on us. It didn't sneak up on the Ducks. They got the win.
No, and again, another great environment, right. And 4:00 on a Sunday, it was intense. Yeah. And you're right, it just to be playing that this early in December is rare. But both teams, it was an interesting game of runs.
It was, yeah,
right from the beginning, and it was just kind of punch counter punch, and it was a fun, entertaining game.
Yeah, this is the encyclopedia example of basketball is a game of runs. When you go back and look
100%, and then to have a game like India had, holy cow, she was amazing.
Yeah, Player of the Week in the Pac-12, and then. The Ducks actually swept the Player of the Week awards because Will Richardson, first triple-double for a men's basketball player in 20 years. Right?
I know. When I saw that, obviously he had an incredible game, and I loved his post-game comments. He's really trying to be that leader, and if you heard Coach Altman's comments, he's really impressed with how Will has stepped into that role. And the way his teammates were really wanting him to get that last, I think it was rebound.
Yep.
It says a lot, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, when the broadcaster gets to go nuts about a rebound, I got to tell you, I was like, oh, this is what Terry Johns felt like when Sabrina Ionescu was here.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Right?
Yeah, and first time in 20 years shows you how difficult it is.
Right.
But Will's that kind of player, right? He can fill a stat sheet, and we've been fortunate to have Will.
Well, there are 3 men that have worn an Oregon uniform that have ever gotten to a triple-double. Ron Lee, Luke Jackson. Luke did it twice, and then Will Richardson.
That's impressive company.
Yeah, no kidding.
for Oregon Duck.
Yeah, that's very elite company. You're in the same sentence with that crew. Yeah. You're doing something right. Well, Rob, anything else that you want to highlight? Anything we missed here at the end of the year, heading into the holidays?
No, just another opportunity to say thanks to our incredible fan base for supporting our student athletes, for supporting our program. We're fortunate to have such a passionate base that support us in so many ways. So happy holidays, everybody. Happy New Year. Hope to see many of you in San Diego or at Matthew Knight Arena here over the coming weeks. And, go Ducks.
Lastly, what is on Rob Mullens' holiday wish list?
You know what? Downtime.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that. Then get out of here. Thank you for being here,
All right,
Rob.
Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it. And go Ducks. We're going to get a timeout. When we come back, Matt Ulmer. Great conversation with the Oregon volleyball head coach. You don't want to miss it on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Toyotathon is on and here to help make the holidays magical.
You made it!
By helping you see friends and family both near and far.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 3rd. Participating dealers only. Toyota, let's go places.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Toyotathon is on and here to help make the holidays magical.
You made it!
By helping you see friends and family both near and far.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 3rd. Participating dealers only. Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Thanks again to Rob Mullens for joining us, and now we'll dedicate the rest of the show to our conversation with Matt Ulmer, the Oregon volleyball head coach. You know that we always like to have fun. Ducks are one of the last 8 teams playing, and they were a serve and a point away from continuing to play this week. We begin our conversation with the Oregon volleyball head coach. Oregon volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer, kind enough to join us. He is staying out with family after a long trip to Louisville, and that's why he's joining us on Zoom. And I got to tell you, Coach, I immediately, when you said let's do this on Zoom, I did have some flashbacks to you sitting in your office at Matthew Knight Arena doing these interviews just a couple years ago. That feels like, to me, Coach, that it was an eternity ago. Does it feel like an eternity ago to you?
I don't remember it. I don't even remember that. Because you know what? This year has been so fun, being there with you, that's all that I'm filled with is that joy.
Wow. Well, that was a just cold-blooded lie right there. Yeah. So that's how we're going to start this off today, huh? Well, Coach, in all seriousness, we joke. You and I always do, but I want to say congratulations on just a tremendous season. I know getting to the Elite Eight is a big deal. That's the 3rd time in program history that's ever happened, but I do wish, and I know you do too, that we were talking and previewing a trip to Omaha and getting ready for some more matches, but still, congratulations on a great season. Reflect on it for us. So what's going through your mind here a couple days out?
I'm in denial, I think. No, it was just one of the best experiences of my life. Just an amazing team, amazing group of women. And, we had a serve and a swing, to go to the Final Four. And Brooke, I think, had the ball, and then Mimi had the ball. And you can't write that up any better. And that's exactly what we were looking for. And what a great environment Louisville provided. Over 9,000 fans there. The most attended regional. I don't think we've ever played in front of that many people before. And I thought we just, we fought our butts off the whole way and gave everything we had. And there's no regrets because, that was the best we could do.
I do want to go back with you and ask about the Nebraska matchup and kind of do a bigger review with you on the entire season. So let's maybe do that before we talk Louisville, Coach, because, man, what a matchup with Nebraska. I mean, just the way that your team played, that's got to be a high for the season, right? And that's one that you'll remember for a long time.
Well, I think anytime you beat Nebraska, that's such a big-time thing. They're just such a good program, and John Cook's one of the best of all time, and they're just loaded with talent. And we played really well. Again, we fought. We did what we did all year. We were very consistent. That was the best defense we've seen by a mile. Their block was really solid, and nothing hit the floor easy, and we were really tested. But we found a way to get it done. And the emotions of that, the high was so high, and I was just so thankful that we had that day off in between so that we could enjoy it, because it was such a it was such a big deal. And, I'm just really thankful that the team had that moment, and then we had that moment to reset before Louisville happened.
I wanted to ask you about having that day off. You mentioned it in the press conferences surrounding these matches out in Louisville, but the comparisons of the fourth set, the way the match went to when you guys beat Minnesota are easy to make, right? I mean, the comparisons, could you remind fans, one, how similar these two matches were with the gravity, how they played out, and then also the fact that the difference was this year you did have that day off, whereas you didn't last time you went through this as a team, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that fourth set of Nebraska, as it's going point for point in extras, I was just thinking like, well, this is familiar. I was like, we're gonna be here all night, and it really had that same vibe. I think we were ready. We were ready to be there all night. So I think this group was in it. And that was really impressive. But again, just the emotions that go into that match, the ups and downs, the roller coaster, and again, literally giving everything that we had to give. Last time when we beat Minnesota, we went right back to the hotel. I think it was like 11 o'clock by the time we got back to the hotel in the evening. And the first thing we did was go watch the film on Nebraska, who we were going to play the next day to go to the Final Four. And, that was, you talk about student athlete experience, like you just didn't get a chance to even just take in what you did.
Right.
And then you lose the next day, and then you're like, oh, well then, we're feeling the loss as opposed to really enjoying that win. So I think that was hard to keep that in perspective. This time around, I think we're able to enjoy that more, and then catch our breath, get reset and get our eyes on Louisville. And again, I thought you saw our best effort again, and that just made for better volleyball. I think any volleyball fan, maybe even just a sports fan, if they watched our match against Louisville, they fell in love.
Yeah, I mean, aesthetically, right? Like it was so much fun, and I could tell you that all of the Oregon fan base was into it, and you get a feel for that, I'm sure, when you see some of the social media afterwards, Coach. But I got the sense that your team even felt it on the build-up to that match. Did you guys feel it from out there?
Yeah, we felt the love. Absolutely. A goal for us has got to be to host one of those, to host a regional, because that would have been great to fill Matthew Knight Arena for a chance to go to the Final Four. And again, all the people that reached out to us, if we could have, had them at our place, that would have been an interesting thing. So definitely a goal for the program moving forward. But I think our team felt so much love and appreciation, and mostly for their effort, their characteristics that they have, and just the quality of who they are as women. And I'm just thankful that everybody saw that and they reached out.
I want to talk about some of your individuals coming up as Matt Ulmer joins us. And, Coach, I love the fact that Brooke Nuneviller said afterwards that you guys were neck and neck. Handed Louisville their first set loss in the NCAA tournament, and a whole lot longer than that. Louisville had been really, really good. You guys had been really, really good. I mean, did we see just two teams that are both poised to potentially be national champions, Coach? I mean, I don't know. Like that's how it felt to me watching, but I'm curious for the expert opinion.
That was our first loss this year with Hannah and Daly in the lineup together.
Right.
It was our first loss, and it felt weird losing. We just got so used to winning, and I've kind of forgot what that felt like. I don't like it, so I remember that now. But I think, I thought Louisville and us play a very similar style. And I think the makeup of our team is pretty similar, and kind of the way we play is similar. So I thought if both showed up, it was going to be a really epic match. And both showed up for most of it, and I think so everybody was really treated to some high level volleyball. And Louisville has been number 2 pretty much all season, right there. And I think we had some injuries to deal with, but when we've had our lineup, I think we've looked just like that. So I think that was a really neat matchup to see. It could have been in the Final Four, but it was in the Elite Eight, and I think it was good for the sport.
I love that you said it was good for the sport, because I feel like this matches like that, and I go back even to the one against Minnesota, Coach, in the Oregon bubble, if you will. Like so many Duck fans, I think that maybe were casual volleyball fans are now hardcore volleyball fans because they see performances like that. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that does make a huge difference. And maybe when you and I have this conversation in like a year, it'll feel that way. But right now, I imagine you're probably still just like, nah, I just wanted to win that one, Joey. You be quiet, sir.
Well, I think, it's the process, right? So that 2018 group, to be able to get to the point to play that aggressive under such pressure circumstances, that group went through a lot to get to that point. And same thing with this group. I mean, we were basically freshmen. The core of this group was freshmen in 2019 and had a really disappointing year. And again, in this day and age, people leave.
Right.
People will transfer if they don't get what they want or it's not looking right or whatever. And this group, no, they decided to, just buy in together. And I think you saw what that meant to them in those matches. And I think that's why we've been so consistent all year. And that's why we fight so hard, is because you've been through the hard part and you decided to work through it together. You're resilient together. You bought in together and you made Oregon, your home, your family, your team. And I think that's what you had to beat when you played us this year.
Yeah.
You had to beat all those things. And that's a lot to overcome. And I think that's what made this team so special.
So much great stuff from Coach Ulmer. We're going to get a quick timeout, come back, continue our conversation with the Oregon volleyball head coach after their season came to a close in the Elite Eight. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Did you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Thanks again to Rob Mullens for joining us earlier, and we continue our conversation with the Oregon volleyball head coach, brought to you by the Wayne Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Oregon volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer, part 2 of our conversation. Be a heavy question, but you and I have talked so much about the culture of the team and the way that they all just bought into it, as you were alluding to. Brooke Nuneviller talked about that even over the last couple weeks, and just how this team really fights for each other. How do you quantify that, Coach? Like when you go talk to future teams about this group and what it takes to be playing at that level, to be playing that consistent, how do you replicate it? How do you coach that moving forward? What do you tell people about this team here now, years down the road?
I think that there's no way around, the process. There are no shortcuts, and it's okay to go through some hardships. Everybody wants to judge you if you have a bad year or a bad match or bad whatever, but instead of just embracing why that happened and how I can fix it and how I can grow from it. And I think, this group did that. And I think it's just a good learning lesson for anybody in the future, that it's okay to have that downtime, because it's going to show you how to move up from there. And again, the highs from this were so high. We fell a little short, but it wasn't because our effort wasn't good enough or we weren't good enough. It's just we played another great team and we just didn't execute enough points. But we did everything that we had to do in order to be a national champion.
How proud are you of the winning streak? I mean, something like that doesn't happen very often. Program record for consecutive wins. And, Coach, this is how close it was. Just to put it in perspective for fans, like, one more point in a couple different scenarios, and we're still talking about that winning streak. How proud are you of that winning streak and how consistent this team became?
Yeah, I mean, I think, all year we've talked about just taking it 1 point at a time, and that was kind of our motto. And can you, actually buy into that coach's nonsense, that we talk about, those things, but can you actually do it? And I think you get all the success from, again, that process, of just doing that and really, believing that and giving your best effort, with the point in front of you and then doing it again. And I think this group really did that. And so what you saw was that we were never out of a match. We were never out of game. This was the most consistent team. We never got swept all year.
Yep.
Right. We lost twice in 4. And the rest were 5-set losses close. Or else we won all the rest. And we had one of the toughest schedules in the country. So I think you just saw that consistency. You saw that mindset. And that's what got us to being successful. And again, there's no way to do that other than just 1 point at a time.
Yeah. Matt Ulmer joining us, the Oregon volleyball head coach. I want to talk about some of your big impact seniors, and it begins with Brooke Nuneviller, Coach. Just to have her coming back this year, I imagine if I talked to you about this 4 years ago, you'd be like, oh, well, she wouldn't be on the roster. Well, she wouldn't have been. That's the wildness of the roster management that you and all of your coaching colleagues are still dealing with, and everybody dealing with the repercussions of the pandemic. To have her for one more year, though, Coach, I mean, just how special was that? How special was she this year? How special has she been to your program? What's her legacy going to be moving forward?
Well, I would say it was a gift. It's just a gift to have more time together. And I think that's always what you're wanting is just time, to make more memories together. Her legacy, I mean, again, find me another pound for pound better volleyball player that's ever played the game. I want to know who it is, but she's up there. There's a few, but she's up there. And I think, again, how could you, if you love sports or teamwork or teamness, or I mean, shoot, if you're in, business, a corporate, I mean, anything where you have to rely on other people, to get the job done, how can you not just fall in love with how she does her business and how she plays volleyball? And she plays as hard as she can every moment she's out there.
Yeah.
And as a coach, I mean, she made my job so easy, because I never had to hold anybody accountable because she did.
Right.
And she didn't have to do it with her words. She did it with her actions. And then, how dare you not follow those actions? And the team did. And again, I think she just set a standard for what Oregon is supposed to be. So if you've been around our program, then, Brooke has showed you this is how we're going to act and this is how we're going to carry ourselves. So, I think, her imprint is lasting for a long time, in our program. I think she's definitely made me a better coach, better person. And, I mean, it's just been a joy.
She could be a coach someday, huh?
She has a job if she wants it. She can take mine. I'll be her assistant.
Brooke,
I don't mean that. Yeah, I don't mean that. Yeah.
Well, in all seriousness, when we had her in the studio, Coach, a couple weeks ago, she was honest. She's like, I don't know what my future holds necessarily. She's still kind of figuring that out. But, I mean, you talk about somebody who's going to be successful in whatever she puts her mind to. I feel like example 1A might be Brooke Nuneviller.
Yeah, whatever she wants. And I mean, she's got a lot of great options, and sometimes that makes it harder,
right?
To figure out what she wants to do. But again, no matter what she does, those people are very fortunate to have her be a part of whatever she decides to do. Yeah. And she'll make whatever organization or team or whatever better, just by being part of it.
How about Gloria Mutiri too, Coach? A real impact player. And in today's day and age, the transfer portal, that was how she ended up here and worked out really well, I feel like, for both the Ducks and for Gloria.
The transfer portal's been good to us. We haven't used it very often, but when we have, it's been very impactful. And again, just the person that Gloria is, like, I mean, she's a one of one. I mean, her story, her background, how she's overcome, her resiliency, her family, her and her sisters, the impact that she had on the team. Again, just a day-to-day example, and she's really, really good at volleyball, and she's going to be a great pro. And, she's getting her degree, and she's had some great connections through Oregon, whether that's in the broadcasting world or else again to go play pro. And I'm really proud of her. She's been a joy. There's just so much. Her smile is so contagious.
Yeah.
And she just brings so much to the team that, again, I don't know how to really quantify it, but I know we're going to miss it.
So when is she going to become an analyst for the NCAA tournament broadcasts coming up? I mean, soon, right?
She did a great job, right?
She
Mostly
did.
Had her doing stuff. I was really impressed. I felt like every time she did it, it was just more and more comfortable, and she just needs, time to do that. But I think she'd be excellent, and they'd be lucky to have her.
Did you give her any pointers when she was doing the pre-match reports on social media?
I told her not to do this her first time.
Oh, good. Yeah, the rock back and forth.
I learned from that, So I could just
Did you actually tell her that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that would have been so. Those
Let me tell you what I did my first time.
Yeah, those that are unfamiliar, the first time Coach Ulmer did an interview wearing the Oregon gear, I guess, right, Matt? I mean, that was the first time.
As head coach,
you did the TikTok clock.
I did.
The back and forth. But hey, the best coaches are coachable. You're coachable.
Right. Yeah. I can be self-aware no matter what my wife says. I can be self-aware. And I can learn. She's shaking her head at me
as he looks up right now. Again, Coach taking a lot of time out of his schedule, enjoying the holiday season. So, Coach, thanks for doing that. Yeah, I don't have anything to add except that we're going to attempt to continue the conversation with Matt Ulmer, the Oregon volleyball head coach. Quick timeout. More coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans! Jackson's is a proud sponsor of Oregon football. And this holiday season, we have the perfect stocking stuffer for the Duck fan in your family. Oregon football trading cards. The cards will feature your favorite Duck football student athletes, so collect them all to complete your set. Be on the lookout for these cards coming soon exclusively to your local Oregon Jackson's food stores. Visit jacksons.com for store locations.
Jackson's. Let's go.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Thanks to Rob Mullens earlier, and then we continue our conversation with Matt Ulmer, Oregon volleyball head coach. We talked with him yesterday. He's traveling out to Omaha here soon because hopefully some volleyball All-Americans are going to be announced in the coming days. Part 3 of our conversation with Matt Ulmer as we recap their season. I do want to talk with you about now the future. You know, it's hard in these season reviews. I think there's so much for someone like me to ask you and to go over, and then fans, though, are already turning the page and looking ahead to next year. How fast do you as a coach, as a person, as a staff, even turn that page toward next year? Is it like you process for 24 hours and then you're already thinking about the opening match next season?
Well, I think, the last few years, things have really changed. It becomes like your second recruiting season is as soon as soon as you're done. I mean, we had players that had decided they were going to transfer a few weeks ago, and already got them in the portal. And, one of the great things about our team this year was our depth, and I think, again, that's what's made us so good is because every practice, we had to be really good because the other side was pushing. So, we're going to lose some players. But I think all the ones that are leaving, it's for a great reason, and I'm excited for them, and I think they're going to find a great fit, and they'll be impact players wherever they go. Carson Bacon's going to stay, and she's going to use her 6th year, which is super exciting.
That's great.
She had a great tournament, and she'll finish up her master's. next year. And so that was something we didn't know that was going to happen that we decided on. And I think she's pretty pumped and the team's really pumped. So I think that'll be great. And we'll have to find a few more pieces. But we have a great freshman class coming in. And again, pretty much the team that you saw on the floor here this last weekend is going to be back again. And that's a pretty good team, so we're really excited. As far as me, actually like reflecting and getting a breath, I don't know if that ever really happens, Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to ask you, like, it's so amazing in today's world, with it being the second recruiting season, I don't know, just the state of college athletics, Coach. Like, what's the feedback from coaches, maybe from student athletes, from parents, all of those involved? Like, is it going to continue this way? You think it's going to keep being this sort of rapid pace and a lot of movement and fluidity?
Well, I think the grad transfers probably won't happen as much, right? Because that was very unique to COVID. So I think, we're almost through that. But I would say, the rosters have stayed longer. Like, again, the fact that Carson can stay a sixth year, which could change people's minds on our roster, as far as what their playing time looks like, that would never happen before except for COVID. So I think you're still dealing with some of that. But I'm a fan. I mean, I want what's best for the student athletes, and so if that means, if somebody wants more playing time, like, good for them. You're either going to try and figure it out where you're at, or you want to go get another opportunity. And there's so many great opportunities that I want to help them go do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If they were leaving because of, how much of a bully I am to you, then, we can talk about that. But I think, the transfer portal is an opportunity, for players to make the best of their lives. And I think we should all want that.
Well, I know a lot of fans then will be curious to just see what the roster looks like now moving forward. Do you as a coach, like, do you want a definitive date of, like, this is the roster, or is it really going to be sort of fluid over the next few months?
I feel like you can always try to plan and then that never works. So, I mean, I think it's always fluid, scholarship wise, that can kind of, even itself out. But I think you're always just trying to make your team better, and you don't know how that's always going to work. And people have lives outside of volleyball, outside of Oregon, that comes into play,
Sure.
A lot of decisions aren't made because of Oregon or volleyball. It's because of family. It's because of things that are outside of this bubble, so it's life. And I think that's, again, what makes, years like this so special. And I told the team after we beat Colorado in that crazy match, before we played Utah, we were in Salt Lake and we had a meeting and I got really emotional, which I don't normally do. But just told them, hey, we know things will always change, and that's okay. But let's just really enjoy every day that we get, which I thought, could be, 3 to 6 weeks at that point, depending upon how long we went for. But let's just enjoy this because it's really a special group. And, I think we really did that.
Yeah.
And now things will change, and that's okay. We all will evolve together.
Yeah, I love that. There is an evolution, a natural evolution that takes place in all of these sorts of things. Well, what else is on the off-season agenda? Coach, like, take fans through what you're going to be doing, and then returning to practice in the spring season, and then before you know it, we're going to be doing a season preview again with you.
Well, this week is the convention and the Final Four, and I'm hoping that we have some All-Americans that will get honored.
Woo! Let's go!
Our staff will be excited to be there and, be at that ceremony with them. I think that's just a really, that's something that every player should strive for. It's just a really amazing experience. And so I'm hopeful that we'll have a few of those. And then we have some downtime. And then, before you know it, New Year's happens and we're back on campus and we get going. So, we're just going to look to get better, get healthy. We got some surgeries that need to happen for people that, really fought with all they had. Georgia Murphy dislocated her shoulder the day before we started playoffs.
Jeez.
And, just how tough she is, to play as well as she did with that, just really special. But, her, Daly, et cetera, they need to get healthy. And so we just need to regroup everybody and keep getting better.
Well, anything else, Coach? Last time that we'll talk with you this calendar year, but before you know it, we'll have you back on in the new year. Just anything that we didn't cover, anything else that fans should know, Coach?
Well, I would say, our last few matches at home, the crowd was so great. And, I really want to make Matthew Knight Arena a place where no one wants to come, play us. And I think that's with our atmosphere. And I hope that if you watch this team, that you are so inclined to buy season tickets. I think they're pretty inexpensive. I think you got a great bang for your buck on that one. I hope the students, which were awesome, the pick group was so amazing and what a great student section. I hope that they fell in love with it and want to come back. And, we're going to do everything we can to put, the best team on the floor and keep that winning streak going. But really, to make it extra special, let's just make that atmosphere in 2023 Matthew Knight Arena the best it's ever been.
Makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Makes a huge difference.
It does. And the players feel it.
He's Matt Ulmer. He's the Oregon volleyball head coach. Coach, thanks for the time.
Are you really going to avoid me up until August? Like, I feel like, I don't know why you need me in your life more. I don't know how you're going to do that. That's why it's there. It's just to remind you.
Well,
always watching.
Maybe we'll put it somewhere else so that I'm not always thinking about you, and it'll just come up naturally at some point, and I'll be like, oh, we got to get Ulmer on the show.
There you go.
That'd be good. I also want you to know,
KG, we got to do it.
Yeah, you and Coach Graves. Are you guys ever both in an off season? Does that exist?
May or maybe.
Really? I don't know.
April? Whenever they're done.
They'll be playing until April, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, we prior to the world shutting down, we had Coach Ulmer and Coach Graves committed to host a Duck Insider on a day where I was out of town.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting. Mm-hmm.
That's the word, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but also I have to tell you that you are currently ahead of Coach Dillard on the scoreboard 8-5, or Coaches Dillard, I guess. I need to make them plural. I owe them a couple of appearances because they've pointed out to me that it's a little unfair that you and I interact once a week, and so there are more opportunities for you to score.
Tell them to stop whining, okay? I don't need excuses from them, okay?
I mean, okay. He's Matt Ulmer.
That scoreboard's exactly how it should be.
He's the Oregon volleyball head coach. Coach, thanks for taking the time and doing it while you're spending some time with family, and I know fans really appreciate it. I sure appreciate it. Thanks for what you do. Thanks for always taking the time to come on and join us, and I promise that we won't avoid you until August.
Deal. And you know what? Walton will find you courtside, okay?
He is Matt Bill Ulmer Walton. I actually had him speechless on that one. Normally, as many of you know, Coach Ulmer will say something going to the break. He did not have anything to say after we said that. I swear that Scott did not edit that soon. Man, I really wish we were previewing a Final Four matchup for Oregon volleyball. They were right there, but still a great run and an incredible team, no doubt about it. Also a sad day today around college football as Mike Leach, Mississippi State head coach, former Washington State head coach all over the place, a wide range around college football, sadly passed away at the age of 61 today. Of course, Oregon football saddened by the passing of Coach Leach, and our deepest condolences, thoughts, and prayers go out to the Leach family and the entire college football community, really. Coach Leach, one of a kind, and I've really enjoyed, I got to say, seeing all of the various stories around social media, all the great clips of Coach Leach just being himself. Coach Leach passing away today at the age of 61. Man. College football losing a great one. Coming up tomorrow on Duck Insider, Rob Mosley will be with us. Dane Altman previewing UC Riverside. Nice 6 o'clock matchup for the Ducks on a Wednesday night on men's basketball schedule. And then Kelly Graves and the Oregon women previewing Eastern Washington on Thursday. It's a busy show. See you then.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe.